Jim South is the director of the corporate engagement team for the Nature Conservancy. Jim has served as the project manager of the TNC Dow collaboration since 2012 and has also led TNC's collaborations with Amazon and Shell. I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Jim.
Thank you very much, Laura, for having me today. And thank you, Mary, for the great explanation of our journey together. It's been such an exciting almost 10 years that we've been working together. It hasn't always been easy. There are challenging times when you bring together two very different bedfellows as a large environmental NGO and a Fortune 50 company like Dow, but we've really made amazing progress together. And to see the culture shift at Dow, where nature is now baked into every decision, it's just been a tremendous honor to be part of that. So again, I'm Jim South. I'm a director on the corporate engagement team at the Nature Conservancy. One of my key roles for the last 9 years has been to lead this amazing collaboration between TNC and Dow. I'm pleased to be here today with the Great Lakes Economic Forum to discuss the ecosystem services identification inventory tool, always a mouthful, but commonly called the ESII tool. So let's flash back about 10 years to the room where it happened. Neil Hawkins, the former CSO of Dow, Glenn Prickett, the former Chief External Affairs Officer, and our teams were sitting together in a conference room at the Chippewa Nature Center in Midland, or near Midland. It was the kickoff to our collaboration, and we were really trying to find our way together, how we were going to answer some of these tough questions. We had this great example down in Seadrift where Dow had gotten such amazing value from using nature, and it was providing such beneficial opportunities to all these birds that are flying over during their migratory periods. So, we had this example, but we didn't know how to quantify nature into day-to-day decisions. How do we look at each project with a nature lens? So we had this discussion and tried to figure out, how does nature provide value to businesses? At that point, there was no easy, there were some tools out there to quantify what kind of value nature could provide, but nothing that could be translated into engineering terms or particularly dollar values. So coming out of the meeting, the charge was to respond to a theory of change. Imagine if you could make informed decisions, which would help you know how much nature could help save your company if you incorporated it into your projects. And wouldn't making investments in nature help preserve and protect nature in the long term? So with that vision driving the team, we set off on this journey together to understand the value nature provides and to figure out how to make the value of nature more accessible to everyone, and particularly to business decision makers. Back then, there was no way to plug green options into project models and find out if they would provide a better ROI. So as Mary mentioned, we started by undertaking a number of studies at their largest site in Freeport, Texas, to prove the hypothesis that green solutions were in fact cost effective. All 4 studies were published in scientific and industry peer-reviewed journals and showed that nature was in fact a good investment. But these studies took a year or more. How could we get to the point where you could simply collect information about a site and feed it into a tool and get results back that would allow the engineering and finance departments to feel comfortable pursuing the green options? The engineers we were working with were very comfortable working, they had set ways that they undertook different types of projects. The wetland example that Mary laid out, the way they had always done it was to build cement, concrete, water treatment plants. This wetland concept was very new and it was risky. And so we needed to figure out ways to show that green options were not only not terribly risky, but also very cost effective. So we decided we had to build this tool, and we're joined by Kevin Halsey from ESG today, the Ecometric Solutions Group. Their company had a special expertise in calculating the value of ecosystem services. Our team worked together with ESG for more than a year developing the ESII tool. which is an app that can be downloaded from the iTunes store. There's actually going to be a new version coming out very shortly to align with the latest Apple operating system. So we will be sending a link out within the next couple of weeks after the event. The tool is designed for a layperson to take to a site and spend 30 to 60 minutes answering questions on the physical characteristics of that site. It's really simple. I'm not an ecologist, but yeah, I've used it many times. And if somebody like me can use it, anybody out there on this call can use it and answer the questions you need to answer. Then the tool takes the information. There's a back-end set of calculations done pretty intense using Bayesian belief networks, and it provides values at the back end that engineers can be used to plug into both engineering models and then translate into financial models. All right, sorry. My slides are not flipping here. So there are 8 ecosystem services that the tool is currently able to evaluate. You see them listed here. Air quality and climate regulation, water quality and quantity control. We looked through the wide array of ecosystem services that we could analyze and picked the 8 that we thought were going to be the ones that provide the most value and the ones that folks would look at most frequently. So the tool was launched in 2016 and is free to download. The first time we tested it out was actually in Midland, Michigan, along the Tittabawassee River. So there's an old industrial site owned by Dow that sits right across the river from Dow's new sustainability headquarters. This site had long been used as an ash pond, and the plan was to cap it with grass and mow it forever. When we heard about this project, we said, well, what if you took this land and instead made it more of a park-like setting? You could get not only a place where the local residents could explore, but also an area that could provide protective values during flooding. So, so we did the analysis using the ESII tool. You see some of the results here, and you see at the top left a look at the business as usual, what it would have looked like if it was just capped versus some different models that we looked at that incorporated more different novel types of green area that could be translated into parkland. And to the right, you see the outputs from the ESII tool, and you'll see almost across the board, the ecosystem services were better under the examples that had more parkland. So one of the bonuses, though, was that it was actually over a 15-year NPV period, it was actually less expensive to make the investment to make it into more of a parkland, because the initial outlay was more than exceeded by the savings that would come from mowing it every few weeks. And so, here's another option where if you look at the savings and maintenance costs, you can actually save a lot of money that allows you to think more creatively up front. So by using the ESII tool, the team was able to determine that this would be the way to go, and we get all these extra bonuses benefits to nature. So since then, the tool has been used in a wide variety of other applications. It's been deployed by companies, governments, NGOs, and even individuals in their backyards to weigh different project scenarios. Through these different and diverse applications, people have been finding additional uses for the tool. For example, the tool was recently used to support a food security project in the Congo, where it was used to diagnose the reasons that landscape conditions were no longer supporting farming in one of the most fertile places on Earth. The tool was then used to develop solution scenarios to measure how local uptake of alternative agricultural practices would be necessary to reach desired milestones. In another application, the ESII tool was used to characterize the Semarang watershed in central Java in Indonesia. Due to ongoing urbanization in the upper basin of the Semarang, flooding in the downstream city of Semarang has been steadily increasing. So the ESII tool was used to create an approach to help the Semarang Regency reduce flood risk through a range of stormwater interventions, and provided the cost-benefit analysis to support efforts to promote these solutions. So with the EASY tool, it is now much easier to compare project scenarios that involve nature. And as we are seeing, the opportunities in this regard are only limited by our imagination in how to apply the tool. Thank you for offering us the opportunity to share the EASY tool with you today. And now we will look forward to any questions which you might have.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. And thanks for teeing that up for the questions. So just a quick reminder,